See that, Dina?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for turning up today. Hopefully I can give you guys a little bit of science without bombarding you with too much information. There's a lot of sleep books and a lot of kind of, science out there, but I really want to keep it quite simple and then give everybody a kind of top 10 list of things you can apply tonight and tomorrow to get better sleep. And then a Q&A at the end, and hopefully, I can kind of answer anybody's questions if you've got a specific thing around sleep. So I'll get straight into it. But who am I? So my name is Angus Buckle. I am the owner of a sleep performance coach. I've been in the health and fitness industry for the past 17 years. I'm certified in mindset, sleep, nutrition, as a personal trainer and DNA and blood testing. And I was a personal trainer in a gym, but I realized how important sleep was in terms of people not getting results. So they were going to the gym, potentially, looking good, but not really getting to where they wanted to. And that's where I kind of went deep into sleep and got, a big transformation myself. And then now I coach others how to do that. So sleep deprivation, in terms of importance, if you think about the human need for water, we can go a few days without water, we can go a few weeks without food, but if we go 48 hours without sleep, we are clinically insane. So, I used to go clubbing when I was younger, and I had a few of those kind of long periods of not enough sleep, and that just shows you how important sleep can be in terms of where our mind will go if we don't get enough of it, and priority. So sleep deprivation, we've all had this bad night's sleep where we've felt fatigue, we've got brain fog, reduced creativity, just really not finding productivity, even memory loss issues, reduced immunity, which is a big thing now with COVID, is what a lot of people aren't talking about because they can't make money from it, is actually getting a good night's sleep can be one of the best self-defense for your immune system because the body repairs during the evening. And that would definitely be where I'd start, because if you're sleep deprived, you didn't get enough sleep, your susceptibility of getting ill actually increases quite a lot. And then just motivation, sometimes we wake up from a bad night's sleep and we're just not motivated. We might be positive people, we might be ambitious people, but even the motivation might be lacking if we don't get the good night's sleep. Underperforming at work, do we need caffeine to get us through the day? Are we taking prescription drugs just to give us an energy boost or even help us to sleep? Excessive alcohol just to kind of wind down in the evening, relationship issues, and bad decisions. There's a lot of science around sleep deprivation. And I know most of this audience is in England, but if you consider the brain can be more, if you're sleep deprived, the brain can be as less responsive as if you were over the legal limit. So if you've had a few alcoholic drinks versus being sleep deprived, your brain could be in a similar state. And if you think about America, if you're driving down a highway, and there'll be very similar stats in the UK as well, 1/3 of Americans are sleep deprived. So if you look left, you look right, and you're running out the door in the morning, you want to get your kids to school or get to work, the person next to you is sleep deprived, which is similar to actually being over the legal limit on alcohol. So that's where it's actually so important to address that and say you do need to be getting good sleep, for yourself and your family, and avoiding those kind of issues, especially in the mornings. So risk of obesity, I'll just quickly look at this because I know Dina wanted to talk about, sort of fat loss, so we'll get into. But if you have under 4 hours sleep, your risk of obesity is 75%. If you get under 5 hours of sleep, your risk of obesity is 50%. And if under 6, 25%. And that's not being overweight, that's being obese. And if I saw somebody who was obese or really overweight, I would definitely address sleep first and almost guess they probably are not getting great sleep. I would argue that sleep is more important than diet. It's more important than the gym. So I don't have my clients running on running machines 6 days a week and eating restricted diets. Instead, it's just about having a consistent sleep schedule. And I'll kind of go into the stats of how much weight you can lose from a good night's sleep. So that was the horrible bit about all the bad things, right? But the best night of sleep will get you is where you wake up like this lady, you feel amazing every day. And it is the natural release of hormones and you will feel fantastic. So So something a lot of people don't talk about is there's this kind of top 10 list of tips on how to get better sleep. But if we consider you've got a biological clock that you inherited in your DNA, it's called a chronotype, and that is going to determine whether you're a morning suited person or a late morning person. So very early, like 5 a.m. or more kind of 7 or 8 a.m. and you'll probably resonate with being one of those two. You then have your social clock, which is where if you've got kids, if you've got a job, I'm sure most of you do, is there a time you need to be up? So as much as you might want to stay in bed till 8 a.m., does the job involve you getting up a bit earlier? And right now it's a really big thing, and I'd love for you guys to ask any questions about this, because the rise and the fall of the sun plays a huge role. If we think about in summer, the sun is rising at 5:30 a.m. and right now it's about 8 a.m. in the UK. So that's a 2.5 hour swing in the sunlight, and it's really, really important. So these are the kind of three main factors in terms of the clocks that play a role during sleep. And when I learned this, it was really eye-opening, because biological rhythms are everywhere. And the principle of this is everything is on a rhythm and on a timer. So if you think about the neuronal network, is every second you're having a thought. Every sleep stage is around 90 minutes. The sleep cycle is once every day. A menstrual cycle is around 28 days. Pregnancy is 9 months. And a reproductive year for a deer, for example, and shedding her antlers is once a year. So all of these things are on a clock. If you go to an app on the internet, you can see what time the tide is going to come in and out. So everything, the more we see that everything's on a clock, all of our cells are on a clock as well. So we have something called the master clock that exists in our brain. And this concept is about the sleep drive. So during the day, you've got a sleep drive and you've got a wakefulness drive. So in the morning, if you woke up without an alarm, this is the natural feeling of feeling, brilliant. We've all woke up, feel energized. We can go and seize the day. This is the natural release you get in the morning of cortisol and adrenaline. Throughout the day, this is going to start to dip, and you may have got to the afternoon in this kind of period about 1 till 3 p.m. The body temperature dips. So you may have had that where you've gone out for lunch, feel really tired. It's actually your body temperature, not what you ate during that window. And then it's going to change throughout the day. Then in the evening, we replace the cortisol, this natural rise of cortisol, with melatonin. And that signals to the body that it's time to sleep. Essentially, somebody who is obese and has that kind of 4 hours of sleep, this rhythm here, this sync of hormones, this natural rhythm, is out of sync. So what we want to do, and the boring part of sleep is being consistent, is get this natural rise to happen at a similar time every day. Regardless of when the sun's coming up, we can use artificial light, and I can talk about that. But this is really, really important, the fundamentals of our hormones, because the release of the cortisol and adrenaline are 100 times more powerful than caffeine. So if you're starting your day on caffeine right now, one of the top tips is to actually delay it for 90 minutes, because that will give you more of a boost. Because if you think your cortisol and adrenaline are going to rise in the morning, this is going to have you actually quite mentally alert if you didn't wake without an alarm. When this starts to dip a little bit and you feel like you're maybe not as sharp as you were, that's a good time to have the caffeine. Then that will give you like a further boost. So that's a really quick kind of rundown of the principle of your wake drive and your sleep drive. And they're the two drives that affect us during our waking hours. And then a really big factor is sleep and stress. So I work with a lot of clients on sleep, and most of the time they're ambitious entrepreneurs and there's just a huge amount of stress in their life. So is it a work deadline? Is it money? At the moment of COVID, a lot of people are having problems. Could it be caregiving with a sick family member? Even conflict with, numerous ways that can be. And then environment. Are you in a toxic relationship and in a bad environment? So this all impacts our stress and our ability to fall asleep. And that's going to be discussed in some of the top tips. So the most abused substance in the world, you may be able to guess this, but it's caffeine. And I have definitely abused this in my time. When I was working in sales jobs, I used to, drink 6 to 8 cups of coffee just to keep going all day. When now I kind of drink 1 or 2 and understand how caffeine works. So this is really important. Just talked about delaying caffeine in the morning. terms of actually using caffeine as rocket fuel instead of using caffeine as this kind of competing for your receptors. When you've got adrenaline cortisol riding high, caffeine's going to come in and it's not really going to take you anywhere. Whereas if you start the day, you can then delay caffeine, you're going to have a much bigger impact in terms of the effect of it. So ideally, if you can delay for 90 minutes longer, if possible. But in this graph, just wanted to show you how much caffeine stays in your system. So if you had your first cup of coffee at 9 a.m., you have 100 milligrams in a ground cup of coffee. 12 p.m., you had your second cup, now you've got about 166 milligrams. 3 p.m., you had your third cup, 210. And if you stopped there, by bedtime, you're still going to have 70 milligrams in your system. And the point of this is, we've all lied in bed before and not been able to sleep. You might be really physically tired and like, yeah, ready to go to sleep now. But if you've got the caffeine that's still active, your brain is still going to be ticking over. And it's one of the worst feelings being in bed. So as a general guideline, I would say to cut caffeine off at 2 p.m. And ultimately, if you want to just test this tomorrow, I'd really like you to try it. 11 a.m. If you can delay your first coffee to 11 a.m., then you'll see the effect of that coffee. And then also just realize after waking, if you did wake naturally without an alarm, that you probably were quite mentally on it already and didn't really need the caffeine first. And just a side note about water, hydration, is during a sleep session, you're going to lose 1 liter of water per evening, just in breath. So what you want to do in the morning is rehydrate with water. So go for 1 liter first. That will actually satisfy the stomach in terms of something being there, and then delay the caffeine for 90 minutes and longer if possible. Here's just a quick rundown of caffeine per cup, because it's in some sneaky places and maybe amounts you wouldn't realize. So if you drink decaf, good luck to you. I'm not sure why people do that, but there's 3 milligrams in decaf. A shot of espresso is an interesting one, 27. So I used to go to the gym and order a triple espresso in Starbucks, and people used to look at me like I was a maniac. But I knew in my daily amount of caffeine, and the dependence, depending on your sensitivity, would be between 100 milligrams and 400 milligrams. I knew that a triple espresso was 100 milligrams, and that gave me a real natural pre-workout, instead of all the crazy drinks that exist out there, to go and, perform in my workout. I definitely don't recommend any fizzy drinks, but you can see a can of Red Bull, 80 milligrams. So there's a lot. I don't recommend instant, because instant actually is it's so dry, and being in the container for so long, it's lost a lot of its health benefits. So I don't recommend instant, because it's kind of dry and dead. Whereas a ground cup of coffee, you get antioxidants from the coffee bean. It's ground. It's generally quite fresh, and that can give you that kind of 95 milligram in one go. So a quick client testimonial, just to kind of talk about where sleep can take you from. So they used to drink 6 to 8 cups of coffee per day. They were really lacking motivation. They sort of wanted to work out, but they just didn't have the energy to do it. They were doing all-nighters in their business just because they felt that was kind of like productive in terms of just getting the work in. Drinking, they said 2 bottles of wine a week, but I think it was probably more than that. Unable to focus, they're on anxiety medication, quite a lot of nightmares and self-doubt. And that's where we're going to be if we're sleep deprived in terms of our mindset. So she went through my sleep course and my sleep coaching. She went down to 1 to 2 coffees per day. She had so much more energy just by getting natural sunlight in the morning and waking up without an alarm. She then could have the energy to work out. And this is my point, is if you've got a client or you are interested in sleep yourself and you want to work out, if you don't get a good night's sleep, you're not going to have the motivation to do it. So it's kind of a foundation before the workout. Waking up full of energy, massive amount of productivity in terms of like what she was getting done. She actually stopped taking her anxiety medication as well, which is a huge win for me to help her with that. She dropped quite an easy 7 pounds in 4 weeks. I've worked with her further and we've actually lost more than that. And she was down to 2 glasses per wine per week. And now she's actually completely stopped drinking alcohol just because she doesn't have the need for it. She's feeling so good off of great sleep. She really doesn't have the need for that. And she just did $30,000 worth of sales in in last month in her business, which was the most she's ever done, and she'd normally get a bottle of champagne and kind of celebrate. And she was just kind of, you know, really happy with life and didn't really need the alcohol anymore, which was fantastic to see. But nothing wrong with alcohol if you enjoy that. Another client result, I wanted to kind of show you this in terms of really the science around sleep. So the client here came to me after a relationship breakup, wanted to get into better shape, and she came in at 78 kg, and we helped her get down to 64 kg. But the most interesting part in science is there was an 8 kg loss in, it was 10 days in this bit here, because that's when we got her DNA results. And what we did was we found out her chronotypes, your biological sleeping pattern. We talked about earlier in the 3 clocks. We found out she was a morning lark. So she actually loves waking up at 5 a.m. Some of you probably freak out and go, definitely not me, or maybe some of you resonate, is she loved waking up at 5 a.m. So we got her sleep schedule to be kind of going to like getting into bed about 9 p.m. Definitely asleep by 10 p.m. and she got a good 7 hours sleep. We then found out in her DNA report she had a high sensitivity to carbohydrates. She's vegetarian, eating loads of pastries, so we took those out. And then plus with her fitness report, we realized that she had slow recovery. So she literally did 2 10-minute workouts a week and 1 yoga session. So in total 60 minutes workout. She enjoyed her food, no restricted diet. And that cliff edge here, she was doing okay on her plan. But that cliff edge there is really where we applied the DNA part, and we got her sleep right, and then boom, she just shredded weight for fun. So this is just a quick view of what the DNA report looks like. We'll find out if you're a night owl in terms of people's sleep quality, so we can help with sleep aids if they're needed, like earbuds and white noise machines. Response to caffeine as well, which is quite cool to look at. And then once we've got that, this is where we can schedule somebody's whole day in terms of when is best for your brain and being a peak performer. So the time that you could wake up, invest in a morning routine, having a balanced breakfast, avoiding carbohydrates, which will save for later in the day, which will give you more energy and help with sleep later on. Waiting for coffee here, as you can see, to 11 a.m. For her brain, this is actually a different client actually in terms of the wolf, but this is somebody who wakes up later in the morning. Mental tasks, busy mental tasks are not due until the afternoon. This is kind of like planning, and then this person is going to be best mentally about 2 till 6 p.m. and then exercise will be best from about 6 p.m. and then kind of socializing and sex would be best in the evening. So there is a best time to when to eat, when to have sex, when to have your high profile meeting. You know, there's literally a best time to do everything, but we can really base that when we know somebody's optimal sleeping pattern, and then sort of plan throughout the day. The other step we use as well is using the Oura Ring. There are loads of trackers out there like Fitbit, Apple. I personally have an Apple Watch and an Oura Ring, so I track on both. But in my studies and research, Oura is definitely the best in terms of their data for a wearable, and it just gives you baselines on your sleep every night to really investigate how much deep sleep, how much REM sleep you're getting, to make sure you're getting the physical, mental restoration. Also your heart as well, in terms of how good is your resting heart rate variability. Even body temperature can be a precursor for COVID or getting ill, because if your body temperature rises by literally a couple of Celsius, then we're going to see that person actually is potentially getting ill. And if it continues over a couple of days, we can sort of help them and advise them to go and see a doctor if needed, which can obviously be you know, something life-saving, which is quite a cool feature. Okay, so in terms of fat loss, cool fact is if you get 7 to 9 hours sleep every night, which is the average, you'll burn 440 calories, which is the same as running on a running machine for 40 minutes. So instead of going to the gym every day and running on a running machine for 40 minutes, which doesn't sound like that much fun, that's how many calories you're going to burn during a good sleep. You're also going to put muscle on because you're going to have the release of growth hormone through the evening. And then you're going to speed up your metabolism by letting the body do its processes. So that's where weight loss becomes really easy, is being consistent with sleep. So good sleep, essentially in summary, is going to give you more time back into your schedule. I can help people really refine their sleep down, as you can see the chronotype, and get it into a shorter pattern to give them more time back into their schedule. You can improve immunity. The science shows you live longer. People trying to skip out and say, yeah, I'm fine on 5 hours. The science really doesn't lead to that. Slows down aging, increased longevity. It's going to increase productivity. You can lose weight and gain muscle, and more active sexually to improve your sex life, which obviously everyone wants, but maybe can't have during this time of this recording. But hopefully when it's all over, you can get down to that. So the top 10 tips, and please ask any questions about this afterwards. But the most important thing that a lot of people are missing is to just be consistent with your bedtime and wake time. This is the boring part about sleep. If you think about the rhythms and the timings we were talking about earlier, it is really, really important for you to be regular with your sleep. So if you can set an alarm for when to go to bed, but not when to wake up. So for most of my clients, I say, right, what time do you want to wake up in the morning? So say you want to wake up at 7. Let's reverse engineer 7.5 hours. It's not 8 hours, but we can say 8 as an average. But let's just reverse 8 hours. So 7 a.m. wake up. Let's go to 11. And then 10 p.m. will be when your alarm will go off. And then you invest that last hour of the day into your evening routine. So set that alarm. And then every night, a million things going on in your life that can help you just get into that routine. Second would be to create your morning and evening routine. And that's just a time of day where it's dedicated to yourself. So if it could be 60 minutes, if it can be 20 minutes, if you've got kids, you just don't have that luxury, I fully understand. But dedicating an hour in the evening and in the morning, ideally for you, in self-improvement. The evening is winding down, just starting to relax for the day, get you into the space to have a good night's sleep. And then in the morning is to actually stimulate the brain and the mind to get going for the day in terms of performance. Sunlight is really one of the biggest factors in terms of your circadian rhythm and wakefulness. So right now in England, we don't have really much sun at all in the morning until 8 a.m. So having 20 to 60 minutes of an artificial light in the morning would be ideal. And then also after lunch will give you an energy boost during that dip of body temperature between 1 and 3 p.m. Either a sunshine break if possible, or just some more light. And just going for a walk outside, even a cloudy day, walking outside is 50 times more sunlight than sitting indoors on a sunny day. So that just shows you can absorb a lot of light just by getting outside. Stopping eating and drinking 3 hours before bed. It might sound like a long time, it did when I first heard it, but when we're consuming food, the blood is going to our digestive system to process it. If we can give a 3-hour break, it means the blood can go to our brain and allow us to sleep. So that really key factor to give that 3-hour break. So that person who is going to bed at 11, reverse engineer that 3 hours, and then have your dinner around that time. Stop eating and drinking around that time. Avoiding screens, pretty sure all of you have heard that before, but 90 minutes before bed. Blue light stimulating the mind, the eyes is just going to keep your system's going to be turned on as if it's daytime, and that's the real problem. So blue blocking glasses if you do watch a screen, but ideally completely moving away from screens around 90 minutes before bed if possible. Having a journal and to-do list. This is pretty big, and this is probably another area people aren't talking about. But in this kind of modern day where we're so stressed out, high-paced and doing a million things, downloading our thoughts and our subconscious are essential to go to sleep. So if you've just had an argument with somebody, or you've got a big business decision and you go, yeah, I'm going to think about it and just go to bed, your subconscious is going to continue to process it because it wants to get an answer. So the best thing to do is to write it down, download your subconscious onto a journal, pen and paper. I use Trello, like a free program to do my to-do list for the next day. So I know I've got a lot to do the next day, but it's planned, and it means I'm not waking up thinking, is something conflicting in my diary? So that's all planned. Delay caffeine for 90 minutes. We've talked about that. Give it a go. It does turn into rocket fuel if you get that bit right. Hydrate first thing in the morning. Get 1 litre of water first thing. So don't go for coffee first. Water first. Cut off caffeine at 2 p.m. That's going to help you avoid having that caffeine in the system later on. And just getting 10K steps. You don't need to be in the gym every day. Just movement. You know, we talked about the 2 drives. You've got your wake drive. When you get to bed, you can't control how good you're going to sleep. It was all in the lead up to that night's sleep. So just getting movement, 10K steps, you know, going on a couple of dog walks if you've got dogs, walking down to the shops, just getting some movement is going to be really key. And whatever you enjoy, you know, if you enjoy a home HIIT workout right now, whatever it is, but just movement. It doesn't have to be a 50-minute workout, just 10K steps to build up that sleep pressure. But if you can get a workout, you will benefit from, you know, deeper sleep that we see more often. So they're the top 10 tips. I hope you found that helpful. Sorry if this was a bit rushed, but I kind of just wanted to get those bits of science, but more importantly, focus on questions instead of boring you guys too much on the science side. So Dina, I hope that was all good.
Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Do you become host now?
I've got no idea. Can everybody hear me?
Should I stop? Sure.
Let me, I'll withdraw co-host permission and we'll see. Can everybody hear me? I'll unmute.
Yeah.
So how was that for everybody? If we try and just do like one at a time, because I am conscious when everybody talks, it cuts people off. Angus, one thing that does come to mind is people waking up middle of the night or having hot flushes, going to the toilet. What could be likely reasons for any of all of those things?
So just on a side note, I actually hate giving a top 10 list of things because everybody's so different, and it's where the industry goes wrong is, you know, buy this book and there's 10 things at the end, it will change your life, and it kind of doesn't. So that even with that question, there's a couple of things, you know, the age, is somebody in perimenopause, menopause, temperature is very important with going to sleep. So if we think about your body temperature is going to rise in the morning to wake you up. It's going to have that dip in the afternoon, and then it will continue to rise during the day, and then it will dip about 4:30 in the morning, and it'll be at its lowest for the 24-hour period. What we want to do is make sure our bedroom is between 16 and 18 Celsius, and that's going to help us stay asleep. If we're waking up due to heat, could be our bed partner, could be, you know, so many other factors, but we really want to, what we want to do pre-bedtime is cool the bedroom, so get into a cool bed, and then keep the temperature in the room at 16 to 18 Celsius. If somebody has a bed partner, maybe different side of the bed, like lighter cover. I know male and females can get in an argument about temperature till the end of time, and, you know, that kind of disturbance. So there's a really cool device called a Chili Pad. It's about $500, and it regulates the temperature on your side of the bed. And that is a game changer in terms of, you know, your partner not heating you up, so you can cool your side down. So that's quite a cool product.
Okay, cool. 3 a.m. wake ups. Is this part of the cycle as well? So checking daylight activity, caffeine.
3 a.m. Yeah. Okay. So there's something I didn't go into, but because I don't like to sort of bombard too much in the science. But if we think about a sleep cycle is 90 minutes long. The average person needs 4 to 5 of those per evening, right? So that's either 6 hours or 7.5 hours. What happens quite commonly is after somebody's got 6 hours, they wake up and they're ready to go, and they're like, what's going on? This is like 4 in the morning. They went to bed at 10. They got the 6 hours. If they didn't have enough sleep pressure during the day, they've then got to this point where they're like, right, I'm good, but it's cold outside, it's dark, they probably don't want to get out of bed, but their body just got sufficient enough sleep. So that's one thing. I would say the other big factor is actually the subconscious. So those people maybe have things in their minds. It's maybe when the what happens is during the first stage of sleep, you get deep sleep for the restoration of your body. It's where you release growth hormone and the muscles repair from sort of 10 p.m. till 3 a.m. And then from around 3 a.m. till sort of 6 a.m., 7 a.m., that's where you get REM sleep, where it's the mental restoration. So if somebody gets to about 3 a.m., they've kind of come out of the deep part, the deep phase, and now they're into a phase where they can maybe be more likely disturbed. And that's where the subconscious is there. So I'd say a lot of the time, that's where it's really huge journaling, writing down a to-do list before bed, and just saying, I'm going to attack those things tomorrow. You know, we've all had nightmares, and a lot of the time it's due to just stresses in our life at that time.
Napping. Now, I am a nap fan, but I do limit it. How does it impact your day if you sleep for like an hour or go through what we call a whole sleep cycle, so 60 minutes to 90 minutes? How will that affect somebody and impact their nighttime sleep?
Yeah, good question. It can take away from sleep pressure if done incorrectly, but I'm actually, because I work with a lot of high performers, napping is really good. So if you went to sleep at midnight, you wake up at 6 a.m., you got your 6 hours, you've got 4 cycles. By the time you get to this 1 to 3 p.m. slot, you're probably going to be a bit tired. What you can do is go for a 20 to 90 minute nap at that point. So you could get 1 full sleep cycle, which would be 90 minutes. So during 24 hours, you're getting 5 cycles, but you're just tactically putting 4 cycles in a sleep session and 1 cycle in an afternoon session. And Olympic athletes or high performance athletes are doing that all the time. It's called a controlled recovery period, where we can get our brain to rest, especially if we just learned something. If we were just learning something, studying, having a nap afterwards helps the mind process everything we just learned, which is pretty cool. So yeah, naps can really work well. I just wouldn't suggest them doing too late in the afternoon. So it's kind of this 1 till 3 p.m. window. As a kind of alternative for most of my clients is a cold shower. So some of you might freak out and go, yeah, I can't do that. But if you want the 3 biggest impact you can have on your energy boost in the afternoon, number 1 is sun. So if it's sunny outside, or get some artificial light. But number 2, the cold shower will really help you with an energy boost. So I recommend that. But yeah, napping could be good. Especially if someone's had a newborn baby, and napping when your child naps is actually quite a good tactic as well.
Okay. There are a few members. Dawn has written in the group, but I know she's doing your sleep course anyway.
Oh, Dawn too,
yeah. So waking up at 3 a.m. but with your mind racing, I'm gonna assume that this is all based around anxiety, stress related things. It can also impact those that are working from home, teaching from home, parenting. The whole COVID situation is obviously going to have a massive impact on how well we all cope with the day and deal with things. So going back to your 10 tips, is it just journal, talk to somebody, get it all out your head before you go to bed? Or
yeah, it's what I show entrepreneurs is how to have more hours in your day. So it sounds counterproductive to start with, because Angus, you want an hour in my evening and an hour in my morning. This is going to take away from all my time. But if we can get you a fantastic night's sleep and you wake up in a really good mood, we've all woke up, felt brilliant, you know, our mind's on it, we just roll through the day, that you get so much more done in that productivity period. So the alarm in the evening is really essential. So that kind of like 9-10 p.m. alarm. So for me, it's 8 p.m. I just log off of all screens, all work. I've still got a million things to do. Believe me, I could continue working and never stop. But I'm like, right, 8 p.m. Now it's the investment into me and just chilling out. I just look forward to that time of day where I watch shows, like relax, and then just get ready for sleep. Have a good night's sleep and wake up feeling good at a very similar time every morning. And the journal should come a bit earlier than right before bed because it's too stimulating. So say dinner's at 6 p.m. Just doing a to-do list, just saying, right, what are the top things I need to do tomorrow? Let me just write those down, and then I'm going to attack them in the morning. Maybe I've got some outstanding stuff, like I don't know the answer to something. What am I going to do in a situation? Just write that down and then come back to it the next morning. Your subconscious will keep processing it, but it knows it's in hand, rather than, you know, oh, I've got to meet my grand tomorrow at 2 p.m. plus I booked a client call in at 1, you know, and there's this turmoil. What are you going to do, like, in this situation? So it's making sure you don't have that. Journaling is so important. Just like talking to yourself every day, your relationship with yourself and your mindset. And I've got a few formats. If anyone wants a free journal format, I can email it over. Journaling's very individual, but the to-do list and journaling after dinner will then let you settle down during the evening, not doing it right before bed because it's too stimulating. So.
Lovely. When you were talking about the rhythms and keeping to a routine, I'm going to assume that if you don't go to bed at your kind of set or ideal bedtime, you're then going to force your body, your brain into another wake active cycle. So therefore, that's why somebody could be feeling more alert. Beth's commented that she struggles to get up before 11 if she hasn't got an alarm by 8, and then she'll fall asleep on the sofa. And if she goes up to her bedroom, then she's wide awake and hyper. So I'm going to guess this is...
Save that. Say that again.
She struggles to get up before her alarm, so she'll struggle to get up before 11 o'clock unless she's actually got an alarm set.
Okay. And
then if she falls asleep downstairs on the sofa and then wakes up to go to her bed, she's wide awake.
Is Beth available to jump on a mic and say?
Yep.
If not, it's cool. If you are, it'd be nice to have a quick chat.
Yeah.
Beth, over to you.
Yeah.
Hi, Beth. So what time do you go to bed?
About 10:30.
Okay, and is that what time do you actually fall asleep?
Probably by about 11.
Cool.
I can literally be knockout.
Sorry, yeah. So you go bed at 10:30, lights out at 11, like you're literally asleep at 11. And then what time do you normally naturally wake up?
So today I didn't have work today, so I got up at 12:30. That's when my body woke me up.
In the morning or in the afternoon?
Afternoon.
So you had
like literally just before 1 o'clock got up.
Okay, and how old are you, Beth?
24.
Cool. Okay. How did you feel after waking up in terms of energy?
I felt drained, but then by about 1:30, I'm up doing stuff, walking the dog, going around the country park, fine again. And then it gets to about 8 o'clock in the evening, I want to sleep. Then I'll go upstairs and then I'm wide awake again until I go to bed.
Okay. Are you watching TV before bed?
Nope. I just go on my phone for a bit, and then the aim of my nights recently is to try and just come off my phone, because I just stay on TikTok for hours and just try and just settle.
Okay. So
I've been trying to come off TikTok about 9.
Yeah, TikTok is not good for sleep. Yeah, because one of my things I want to cut out are YouTube binges. If I don't have something planned for my evening like entertainment show, I'll just be like YouTube show, and your brain's taking in so much new information, your subconscious just overloaded with stuff. So what I would say is, if you can invest the last hour of the day, so 10 p.m. your alarm goes off, so you get off all gadgets. If you can meditate, even have like a warm bath, just chill out, relax, whatever it is for you, whatever works for you. Go to sleep at 11, and then now what happens is your body is either going to need 6 or 7.5 hours sleep, maybe 9 if you're doing lots of workouts. Are you working out much at the moment?
Not at the minute, but I'm working on my feet all day and quite busy at the moment.
Okay, cool. So you're physically tired at the end of every day.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially that's actually a big factor. You could be, when was the last time you had like a couple of days off in a row?
don't actually know.
It's very
kind of.
Yeah, a lot of people are working a lot, and there's kind of not this gap. I would say 10 p.m. alarm, cut off everything in terms of gadgets, screens for that last hour, and then monitor your natural wake up time, which is going to be around 7 to 8 a.m. and get up at that time. I know I fully relate to being, are you in England?
Mm.
You wake up and it's pitch black outside, it's cold. Like, I don't really want to get out of bed right now. So I fully relate to that. Buying a light, an artificial light, will actually help you stimulate waking up. So in the morning, I wake up about 5:30. I turn my lights on, I make everything bright, and that starts suppressing the melatonin to go to disappear, and the wakefulness to get up. So with you, Beth, what you actually find is you'll be sleeping a lot less and you'll feel a lot better. I almost guarantee you, if you get up about 7, 8 tomorrow, maybe set a backup alarm for about 8:30. I really don't think you need any more than that. Get up, lots of sunlight, get moving with the dog, have the water, for 1 litre of water, and you'll feel really good. But a lot of the time, if we sleep longer, potentially we can feel worse, because our body was all about to turn on, all of our organs, everything was like, right, time to go. And if we go back to sleep, we create that dysfunction because the body has to suppress lots of activities. So give that a go tomorrow, and hopefully that gives you some more energy. But light is really important in the morning. So trying to get 60 minutes of light. Like I've got a halo light here. So I use that in the morning as my kind of artificial light. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. I'll just ask one more question because I don't think anybody else has got
anything else
to say. But is there such a thing as too much sleep?
Yes. Really less. If we think about efficiency, right? On average, the average person needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. There's loads of variables. If I've gone to the gym and done a leg day, I could sleep for 9 hours the next day. If anyone's been a gym goer here and relates to doing a really big workout and kind of go into like failure, and the next day you can just sleep for eternity. So we could get 6 cycles in that night and actually sleep for maybe 9 hours. Most people are good on 4. If you're working from home at the moment, not getting much workouts, you're probably good on 6 hours. If you might need 7, there are different age brackets where we need more. Teenagers need more, infants need more. Then we get to kind of 21, 65, and then we're in this kind of 7 to 9 hour average. But what you'll find is, if you, as I was just saying to Beth, if you wake up in the morning naturally at a certain time, and the more you log this with something like an Oura Ring or a smart gadget or even a sleep journal, what's really scary is you wake up within like a 20-minute window every day. It's really strange. So because I'm so consistent with sleep time, I go to sleep at 10 p.m. My eyes will start shutting about 9:45 to 10. My life does sound very boring, I realize that, but 9:45 to 10 p.m. is when my eyes will shut, and then I'll wake up about 5:30 in the morning. Could be 5:20, could be 5:45, but it'll be on average 5:30 naturally and feel amazing. But that's, my body is on a rhythm, and now every day my body is kind of like in sync to what it wants to do. So when it's ready to work out, it'll be the afternoon and all that stuff. So if I sleep in till maybe 8 a.m, I'll feel really bad. I feel sluggish all day. I feel behind. My brain is not there. So when you get that natural wake up, nothing can beat that. Like, I've got people on showing people their natural wake up time, and they're like, I can't believe how good I feel. Like they're shocked in how good. And there's no drugs, there's no pills to be sold or anything. It's just getting a good night's sleep.
Thank you. I don't think there is any more questions. Oh no, Joe's asked one. How long does it take to adjust to a new rhythm?
Good question. I would say about 2 weeks is where I can see a pattern. My coaching is 6 to 12 weeks, but normally if I can see a sleep journal and Aura Data or like Apple or Fitbit, whatever it is, we can start seeing when people's body wants to do certain things. So if you actively try and be really consistent, then we're going to be able to see that sleep pattern over 2 weeks, and then 4 definitely. Like within 4 weeks of sleep data, really going to be able to see the how it works. But it could be longer as well. But like, what for most people, we're working on an hour in the evening. For somebody like Beth, as an example, kind of knows she's good at falling asleep at 11. So now we know half an hour either side of 11 can be her sleep time, and then her wake time should be about 7.5 hours later, and we're working on an hour. So we've got these 2 hours to work with, and then over weeks of tracking it, we can start finding the average. So I hope that helps, Joe.
Fee, can you see the comments? Can you, Angus?
Yeah.
The chat. Yeah.
My dog out. So Faye says, I get bouts of insomnia. If you can't sleep, it's best to get up for an hour, try again until I awake. Yeah, so it's very, very common to wake up during the night because I track my clients' sleep. I can kind of see, or if I'm on Messenger, I kind of see some of my clients on their phones sometimes, and I know they're in Canada, and I'm like, well, it's 3 a.m. What are you doing on the phone? And it's one of the worst things we can do. So the best thing you can do if you wake up is to change room, cool down, listen to the most boring podcast in the world. You could probably repeat my voice and I'll send you to sleep. Or something that's just really kind of mundane, right? A relaxed podcast, meditation music. Do that until your eyes want to start shutting, then go back to sleep. But it's distraction is basically what you need to accomplish with the mind. Looking at a screen will give you light, will not allow you to go back to sleep. You'll be stimulating, like if you were scrolling on TikTok, that would probably be the worst thing you could do. So just changing room and just distracting your mind with whatever works for you. If that's meditation, if that's a podcast, avoid it. Like, for example, if you've got to access a podcast on your phone, then just kind of go into that and click in it rather than sort of like looking at the screen too long. So yeah, it could be temperature as well. So thinking about your bed partner, yourself, hormones as well. Hormones can just be out of sync. A lot of doctors offering my clients in America cortisol and all these crazy hormones. Well, actually, I've showed you all today the natural rise of cortisol. If you just sleep in a natural pattern, you release that cortisol every day and it'll be like that. If you're inconsistent with your sleep, your cortisol is going to be like that. You'll be stressed out, put on more weight, want to eat more, and then doctor will say, oh, you need drugs for that. When actually, just get a better night's sleep and be consistent with it, and you'll feel fantastic, and you won't need any drugs.
Brilliant. If somebody wants to take some control with their sleep, where can they find you? Where is your sleep course?
So yeah, Facebook, Angus Buckle. Just check out my stuff. It's public. Drop me a message if you've got any further questions. Tonight I just did this, wanting to help people better sleep. It's hopefully there's a lot of people that apply my free tips and get amazing sleep. So you don't actually need a sleep coach. Most of the principles I speak to are, journaling. If you asked me 2 years ago, Angus, journal, I'd be like, nah, I'm probably not going to do that. But now I see the value in it, in self-improvement and for sleep. So journaling, writing your thoughts down every night would be pretty big. And if anyone's having a problem with sleep, I'd say just, be consistent and invest in it for the next 2 weeks and just see how good you feel. Because if you wake up naturally when your body temperature rises, your release of hormones come up naturally, you'll just feel brilliant. And that there's no drug that can replicate that. And that will help you get into the right place mentally to have a good day, productive wise. And then, your bodily functions doing everything when they want to, rather than kind of in dysfunction. If Dawn's here as well, because I know Dawn's doing my course at the moment.
She is indeed.
If you've got, Dawn, have you got any questions about the course? I don't know how far you've got into it. Or if you...
Hey there. You okay? Yeah, I've literally only just started. So I've just started it. So it'd be quite interesting to see how I get on with that.
Awesome. Well, print off the sleep journal, fill that out
Yeah.
each morning.
Mhm.
And if you want a journal to actually just a journal for your thoughts journal, then I can email that over to you. So just send me a message.
Okay.
So yeah, I hope you
Brilliant.
enjoy it. But that is kind of like a daily video to watch with a challenge afterwards. So after a month, you'll be more knowledgeable than the average medical doctor, who only has about 2 hours in sleep training. So you'll be good to go. And if you've got any questions, just add me on Facebook, Dawn, and I
Yeah,
can
will do.
as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Brilliant.
Any other questions? I think we answered how much deep sleep should we be getting a night. Really, an hour and a half is a good benchmark. Oura Ring is a great way of tracking that. So you're not going to get enough deep sleep without enough movement. And that's where I've shared progress photos of me and my clients of putting on muscle without having to eat loads of protein and loads of, protein shakes with random stuff in them. Just getting that deep restorative sleep during that 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. is going to help you put on muscle and repair it. So an hour and a half would be a good target, or 20% of whatever your sleep session is, and then a similar amount for REM, which is your memory consolidation. What if you nap for an hour? Is visceral relevant cycle, so we covered that. So yeah, napping should be 20 minutes to 90 minutes, no longer. Maybe set an alarm as well, so you don't nap too long. Tom said power nap is awesome. Yeah, power nap. Astronauts do power naps, and they were shown to be 100% more productive than when they didn't have them. So their sleep cycle is obviously a bit crazy. So napping can give you that productivity energy boost. Sleeping with windows open. I have one window open, even though the closest weather. I mean, really, your window open. So that's Dan. I generally get quite warm in bed, so I do relate to what you're doing. Even though in winter I actually have a fan on, which sounds a bit mental, but the window and the temperature outside drops so heavily during the evening. It really depends on your body temperature throughout the night. So as an average, what I would do is open your window before bed, cool the bedroom down so you get into a nice cool bed. If you can gauge the temperature 16 to 18 Celsius, and then when you get to sleep, when you go to bed, close the window, and then just make sure the room is continue to be cool throughout the night. And it's something to think about: different seasons, different temperatures, so different, whether you need your duvet and not. So that kind of needs to be adjusted a few times a year. So 16 to 18 Celsius would be my main thing there, Dan. And then I think that is it, unless anyone else wants to jump in and ask any other questions. Joe said body temperature increases recently have been waking me up. Yeah, depending on if you've got a bed partner, your age, just trying to keep that bedroom cool really, Joe. So if it is really bad and you've got a bed partner, or even it's kind of like, I don't know if Joe is male or is Joe male or female?
Female.
Okay.
Very stressful job.
Stressful.
And teaching from home.
Okay. Yeah, lots of factors for temperature. Chili pad could be your go-to. Basically, with everything with sleep, try holistically for like 2 to 4 weeks. At the end of that, if you've tried everything, you're like, I've been consistent, Angus. I've gone to sleep every night this time. I delayed my caffeine. I had my litre of water. I've been journaling every day, and I still am having problems with sleep. At that point, now we can talk about supplementation. Now we can maybe look at hormones and other things like that, or tests, the DNA test, or tracking further with an Oura Ring. But you can do so much holistically yourself without needing to give anybody any money at all. The boring bit is being consistent. But the high performers I work with, I've got a lady who's drinking 2 bottles of wine a week, now doesn't drink at all because she feels so good. So you know, that just shows you what the Parasleep can do. Snoring bed partner. Okay, snoring actually isn't a funny matter. It is a sign of inflammation. Couple of things you can do. Sounds a bit brutal, but you can get some mouth tape. You can put literally a bit of sellotape, or if you really don't like them, Gorilla Tape. They never open their mouth again if you put Gorilla Tape. But that little bit of tape will actually assist with mouth breathing. Plastic bag, I can't condone that, because that could cause potentially a loss of life. So Gorilla Tape, whatever, some tape across the mouth, and then that will force you to breathe through your nose. There is a lot of science now. Breathing through your nose actually helps your respiratory system go on autopilot. So that's one thing. Losing weight probably is a big sign of sleep apnea, is what it's called. So I would say weight loss to a person who's snoring. If they're not overweight, breathing exercises. And for Claire, earbuds is a game changer. Buy them on Amazon. They're like 10 pounds. Little silicone ones. You rub them up into little balls. I use them every night. Put them in, and then your snoring, you shouldn't be able to hear any snoring at all. So that will change your life. £10. Or some Gorilla Tape. So easier than murder. Yeah, definitely easier than murder. Yeah, so, you know, bed partners, definitely, you got to be a team in it, really. Is if you're trying to fix your sleep, get them on board with it as well. You know, Dina, if you do want to do a challenge in your group or something, we could do like a 4-week sleep challenge to help everybody. Potentially, you know, do some sort of deal just to help people out if they're interested, because 4 weeks is all it takes. And then after that, if there's further issues, then potentially, you know, there's other things to be looked at. But for, I'd say 80% of the population, especially in the UK, we're just stressed out. We're under-recovered. You know, we're just not investing enough time in us of a morning and the evening. And if we can just do that, then we'll get a good night's sleep, which is going to enable us to put on muscle, lose fat, and feel fantastic. So it's the most cost-efficient thing you can do for your health, and you don't even have to go to a doctor. So.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely look at doing a 4-week challenge. I'll get feedback from everybody. We'll stick some information in the Facebook group. I'll probably stick you in there, but be warned, they are a banterous bunch.
They are a what?
A banterous bunch.
Good.
Yes, swap bed partners. Simon.
Interesting. One swap would be fun. Don't know what you're gonna get.
Lucky dip, yeah.
Yeah, so if your group wants to do it, but like I said, Dina, you're awesome. So I jumped on here today to help you in your community. Hopefully somebody's learned something from this and can improve their sleep. You know, if anyone is interested in one-to-one coaching, drop me a message, or you have a bespoke question or something, just ask. And I don't really do group coaching anymore, but if there is demand for it and your group want to do some sort of group thing, we can work something out. Just depends if what people want. So just let me know.
Yeah, will do. Thank you very much, Angus.
Thanks everyone. Hope I didn't send you all to sleep. Hope you learned something.
Definitely not. Lots to think about. Yeah, thank you very much, Angus, and we will catch up.
Cheers everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.